gosh.
Poplar.
Why? I show you nothing but love, and you expose my weaknesses.
Poplar.
You taunt me.
All right, we should be live.
All right.
Yeah, I see it.
I see us
I
now.
see it.
All right.
I don't see
You ready,
it.
Wolf?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, I'm going to start recording. Go ahead.
All right. The console wars have long since been over, but we're bringing them back today on. All right. Hello, everybody. Today, we are going to dive into our final bracket for March Radness 2022-2023. All right. I'm already off to a great start. Hey,
Been a
fellas.
long year.
Fantastic.
Been a long
Yeah.
month.
I'll fucking say.
I am joined by all four of our wonderful other hosts. We've got Sick Jake.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be here as always.
We've got Guy Prime.
Hi, how's it going? It's good to see you.
We've got Chard Monk.
Hello. Welcome. Hello.
And Sinistar's here too.
Hi.
Make it creepy, please. I'm just going to sit
And
here and
we-
watch you guys pick things. It's going to be a good time.
Please don't.
So I'm sure this will be a very easy conversation tonight. We are discussing what we think are would be the greatest console of all time. No arguments whatsoever, I'm sure, tonight.
No, we're
That's
going to argue
tonight?
on everything.
Nobody will be-
Yeah.
Nobody will be hurt.
Okay. I thought we were discussing
always
the top
sad.
18 GI Joe games. So let me switch gears.
Are there 18 GI Joe games?
No.
Do you have GI Joe games in Canada?
Say,
There's like one.
wow.
Before we start,
It's in English
I know we
and
were
in
joking.
French.
We were
GI
joking
Mountie.
earlier about which opening line to use. The only reason I suggested so many bad ones was I thought the obvious was what we were going for. I thought everybody knew this one, so I apologize. I thought we were going to go with press B to console.
I
Console.
didn't even think of that.
Should we restart? We can go from the top. I'm kidding. You nailed it. dude.
Wow.
Ultimately
Paradise
yours.
Lost. Paradise
I'm
Lost.
still
No.
I'm still hung up on GI Mountie.
Wouldn't it be Mountie
Mountie
Joe?
Joe.
Wouldn't it be Mountie Joe?
We don't have
Would
Would
Joes
be
in Canada.
Mountie
They're not allowed.
Sounds inappropriate.
fighting off Moosebra.
Yeah.
Which is better than the one we have here in the Midwest, EIEI Joe.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Old McDonald had an
Midwest.
army.
Shut it down.
Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from? GI Cotton Eye Joe?
Cotton Eye GI Joe.
That song's about syphilis.
Wow, we are so far off track right now, guys. That was a quick tangent.
So
Welcome
Super Nintendo wins.
To the last. Welcome
Yeah,
to
so
the last
Record.
episode.
This is
Welcome to
our
the
first
last-
24-hour stream.
Yeah, welcome to the last March Radness. We're all a little punchy.
Just a bit, I'd say.
I mean, I got like what you might call a relaxed brain, but I don't know if I'm punchy, but all right, it's fine.
All right. So we're gonna work through 12 consoles, pairing them up, and decide which one's better. And then we will go into our second, hopefully, lightning round as per usual. And then we will decide on the top 3 at the end of all of it. So, shall we go ahead and just jump into this?
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
First of all, let's just make sure that there's no biased nature to anything here. Okay, we want to make sure that everybody
I
gets
am
a
handling
chance
the brackets.
here. Oh, you did the brackets?
Well,
Okay.
sort of. I have control of the brackets. Let's say that.
I had
There you
hope.
go.
I had so much hope for this episode.
It's
He
gonna
has
be
to get
fine.
approval by Jake before we move on every time.
We should say
We know
though.
who runs the world.
Jake, is
We
this
sh-
okay? Yeah,
We
it's
should
okay.
say it's not
No.
just like we're not just comparing graphics of these consoles. That's not fair because we're talking about like
No.
impact,
No.
legacy,
Right.
library size, the fun. Yeah, we got to try and keep it as objective as possible considering the idea of when these things came out.
All right.
Objective.
So, shall I reveal the first console?
Let's do it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
We've got
Oh, we got
the
props.
Xbox.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
We have
This thing
visual aids
released
tonight.
in
Who's
what,
that gonna lose to?
2003, 2002, something like that.
2002, I think.
Did a
Yeah.
bunch of research yesterday, and I didn't pay
Didn't-
attention to what years
didn't
anything came out.
Didn't the original Xbox come with a beanbag chair?
Yes.
And divorce papers. Anyway,
No, it was the PSX. that
Consequently, I
came
got
with
both
the
of those
divorce
when I
papers.
got one.
that's why they called it the Xbox. Anyway,
Yeah.
And the
Don't
Xbox
shake your head at me,
is
Danny.
going up. The Xbox is going up against the Sega Genesis.
There you go.
Oh,
Now that's a console.
This is
Wow.
okay. This is
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good
Wow.
one.
I like that matchup.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, they're randomized, but thank you.
It's gonna be
I
hard
thought
to beat
Wolf did 'em.
Flicky.
I'm
He just
seeing some
backed- he just-
sneakery here.
I'm
He
in
just
control of
backtracked
them.
on that. He just backtracked. He was like, "Thank you." Oh, wait. Hang on.
I mean, no, I mean,
the
Yeah.
random.
Illusion
I
of
said
I
Shadow.
too
mean,
much.
look at it.
Can I start this
seems
one?
like a Canadian choice wrapped in a werewolf shell.
Go for it.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me start with here. So I know at least one of you guys loves a Genesis. I know Chard grew up with one like me, but I'm going to argue with everybody else here. The Genesis has some of the best music of the era. I know people like the SNES music, and that's fine, but I always found the clarity of the music on the Genesis to be really fantastic. A lot of developers that were in the EU who did work on Commodore 64 and Amiga were able to easily port their games over to the Genesis. And if you guys know anything about the Amiga, is the music fucking slaps. Sorry, YouTube.
Mhm.
And they brought that great music to the Genesis. The music on the Genesis is so freaking amazing. It's so fantastic. If you were anyway a kid who enjoyed sports, then the Genesis was your jam. That was your system. The controller, we said before, was amazing, or at least I think I said it was amazing. Feels good in the hand. I don't know. I think the Genesis is an amazing console and system. I never owned the original Xbox. I can appreciate, how good Halo was for people and how it was a game changer and all that. But the Genesis to me was such a fantastic system. For me, it's got to be the Genesis.
All right. Can I go next?
Go
No.
for it.
All right. So I'm going to argue for the Xbox. So I still have my Xbox. The Xbox really, I'm going to argue that its claim to fame, and maybe this will lose the battle for it, but its claim to fame was its hackability. Its claim to fame was the ability, like the amount of mod chips that were released for this thing,
Mhm.
and the fact that you could go in and you could change out the hard drive, get a larger hard drive, etc. Yes.
Just to make sure I understand what you're saying, the claim for this one is it's great because people love making it not what it is. People like improving to it. They're like, I got to get me one of these so that I can make it not what it is.
Well,
Just want to make
and-
sure.
Let's
and
let's
it also
let's-
Yeah.
It people would mod it and throw big giant hard drives in there
Mhm.
and load those up with games.
Yes.
I never
then-
did that to mine because I've got the special edition,
Yeah.
Master Chief see-through one. So I was
Right.
like, I'm not going to do that to this. This is kind of a nice
Right.
piece. So, but
Yeah.
definitely, I knew a couple of people who did that.
And on top of that, so yes, GP, to your point. So um once you modded it, it was just stupid easy to put in a game's disc. So say, during the heyday of video game rentals, you'd go rent a disc, and there was a program that would just say, rip it right onto my hard drive. And on top of that, so the ability to, either own games and have them load faster off of hard drive, or to acquire games that you may not own, or even better, acquire games from different regions and put them on. But also the emulation, we're going to do the big E word, right? There was a gigantic MAME emulator for it that was fantastic. I played so many arcade games on it. The Xbox Media Center, which then became
Yes.
like Cody and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. I mean, that all stemmed out of that. This thing actually kind of started the concept of modding your hardware, which continued into the PS2, the PS3, etc. I mean, this really kind of started. There is a book that I actually own called Hacking the Xbox.
Hmm.
It is an entire discussion on the guy that originally figured out how to literally jumper pins on the motherboard and get past the protections. So
Okay.
for extensibility, I am going to go with the Xbox.
Can I offer a counterpoint to that and throw in my vote?
Yes.
Before I do, I want to say, Chart, I'm glad you're back. I'm sorry we missed you for a moment. I was kind of hoping, not that I want you to be gone, but I was hoping it would give me a chance for me to do my Chart impression so I could
Can I at least,
explain.
is my mic working at least?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
can
fine.
hear you
Okay.
just fine.
Yes.
It shut off. That's why I was trying to figure
Oh,
out why
okay.
it shut off. We
Do I
fixed
have
it.
your
We're good.
permission
Okay,
to
Yep.
not speak for
Okay.
you, but to do my Chart impression next time that
You're
happens?
more than welcome to. I can't wait
Okay,
to hear
thank
this.
you.
I'm excited.
It'd be great. So okay,
Hey,
counterpoint
should I
to
turn my headphone down real quick?
no, I think I've no need. I'm not gonna do it now. I'll do it later.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Can't wait.
okay, no, I'll do it now. Let me go and go for Chart.
It's a little high on the pitch. You're a little pitchy, but I get where you're
No,
going.
no, when you get into it, that's how this is Chart. No, man, it's the Genesis. It's the Genesis. No, it's your passion. I love
It
it.
is passion. No, okay.
Okay, no. So to speak to Sinistar's points here, that's fine. That's cool. I love that you brought up the expansiveness of it because I think if you're going to compare that from the Xbox to another console, the Genesis is a great one to do that, right? Because Genesis had that the Sega channel,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
that was a
Yeah.
pay per month subscription sort of thing that could, expand your library, as it were. Hold on,
Though
I'll get to you.
still
But
sanctioned. Still
still
sanctioned.
Okay. Yes. But here's what I'm saying is I think that's a cool kind of analog. I get the appeal to it. I understand what you're saying. I'm actually a big fan of being able to mod things myself. Um, to what
Nerf.
yeah, to what Jake was saying earlier, yes, party bass and music, Genesis nails it. I was saving this little one-liner, but now that I don't know if these two consoles are going to go against each other, I'm going to go ahead and say it this way. The best thing about the Genesis was the Super Nintendo library that you could play on the Genesis. Also flicky. My vote is going to go for the Sega Genesis. I don't have anything against the Xbox, but I think one of the main things that whenever you say Xbox, really one of the only things people can really latch on to is going to be the introduction of Halo into the pop culture zeitgeist,
Which
which
is
they
a
later improved on and expanded, and that's great. I just think that the Genesis, as an overall thing, had more to offer than the original Xbox. Does the Xbox deserve to go on out of the first bracket? Yes, but unfortunately, it's the Genesis, and the hand has writ.
Can I just ask
as it
real
were.
quick? Can anybody name another Xbox game besides Halo?
Flicky. Oh no,
Crimson Skies.
Genesis.
yeah, Crimson Skies, Panzer
Okay.
Dragoon, Orta.
Panzer Dragon.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. There was
Sports Ball
a
2004.
Time Splitters, Future
yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, Future
Dragon
Perfect.
Ball
Yeah,
Z,
absolutely.
Budokai.
On
Yeah,
Xbox?
Breakdown.
there was a fantastic fighting game that was not Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter. I'm blanking
Tekken?
on the name. It was
Was it King
no,
of
it-
Fighters?
Dead or Alive.
no. It was
Dead or Alive?
Well,
Tournament
Dead or
Fighters,
Alive.
Ninja
Yes,
Turtles?
that actually is, and in fact, Dead or Alive volleyball, beach volleyball.
Yeah, volleyball.
Yeah, right.
Welcome in
Yes,
the
because
new use of physics.
guys,
Shit,
it's
you
Well,
March
didn't know
Radness,
you
not
needed-
sweeps. Okay.
And I wanna
I
and
would-
I wanna bring something up. The hacked Xbox, the modded Xbox, you could replace the original files. And yes, there was a patch for Dead or Alive beach volleyball.
Yeah.
There's a patch to depatch, as we like to call it. In
Yes.
biz.
I love
Yeah.
everything
Also-
you're saying. And again, it's a shame that the Xbox, I feel, can't beat the Genesis. We'll see what everybody else says. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sorry. Just one last time to restate my opinion in case I was blurry. Chart and I
Also,
are going to go with
Jake,
Genesis.
Can I Jake, can I tell you it also had Star Wars Coder and Morrowind.
Okay, so we had Morrowind, which I love Morrowind. I can't imagine playing Morrowind on a console. Like I played that on PC, and I think that was from
You know
an
what?
era of Elder Scrolls that should have been on PC.
Oh, you know what else I played
I
on the
tried it.
original?
What?
KOTOR. I played KOTOR on the original
Oh,
OG
yeah.
Xbox.
Yeah, that was on console
I played
too.
KOTOR. By the way, the
Yeah,
fighting
my
game I
buddy
was
played
thinking
Jade
of,
Empire. There
Jade
was
Empire.
Vex. Like there were some cool games on the Xbox.
and then the fighting game I was thinking of, I looked it up, is Dao Fong, which was a great fighting game.
Oh, Dafong, yeah.
Don't know that one.
I don't know. Like I don't
Am I
have
going
the
next?
nostalgia for the Xbox. It's just that like the Genesis you had Sonic, of course, right? I remember playing all the sports games. Sports Talk Baseball's fantastic. Kid Chameleon was really good. Earthworm Jim is one of my favorite games. That was on there.
Yeah.
There's so many great 16-bit classics on the Genesis. Like for me, it's just going to be the Genesis. But to be fair, I just don't have the experience with the Xbox like some of you guys might have. But I remember from the console wars back then, I think PlayStation won out, I think, in the long run in terms of sales and library. I think people like the PS2 probably more. I don't know.
Okay.
Fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, we still got Chart and
All right.
Wolf, right?
Yeah. Do you want to go first, Chart, or you want me to go
It's
first?
up to you, Wolf. You're the host, my friend.
Go ahead and go.
Yeah.
I'll be the villain if I have to.
Genesis is gonna win. Genesis.
My opinion don't even
Listen,
matter.
I grew up with this guy. This is my original Sega Genesis that I had forever ago. My parents found it and gave it to me. It had such great games as Joe Montana and his '93 football team, and of course the classic Jim, Hidden Jim, Echo the Dolphin.
Nobody's heard that one
I don't
before.
agree with the bass. Yeah, no one's heard of that one. I don't agree with the music. I never got in. Okay, hold on.
Come on now.
Sonic's music is spectacular. Sonic's music, every single track from Sonic 1 to is slapping. I love them all. I remember as a kid recording them with my boombox next to the TV because we wanted to get the soundtracks, and they obviously weren't available because internet wasn't a thing at the time. So I would record Green Hill Zone to Hilltop Zone, Marble Zone, Oil Field Zone, all the zones, the zoners, all of them. Controller felt great. To Jake's point, the controller always did feel really good in my hands when I was playing it. Even when I pick up the old one here, I'm like, damn, this still feels pretty damn good. It translates well. And the Genesis ad campaign, the Sega ad campaign against Nintendo goes down in fucking history.
Huge.
And the target to try to target the more, adolescent adults. The edgy teams, like, we're gonna give you sports, because Nintendo didn't really give you sports very much, right? They gave you some things, but Sega was like, fucking sports. We're gonna give you sports. It's gonna be teenagers. The slogan by itself, Genesis does what Nintendo don't, automatically gets it into the top, that gets it past Xbox to me. I love my Xbox, don't get me wrong. It had some great accessibility to it. It was the turning point. It was the start of a new era when that came out to fight against PlayStation and Sony. It was huge. I mean, Halo, Dead or Alive, all that stuff. We were starting to play like these high-res games in our houses that we were like, we couldn't see this thing like before. I mean, you got a huge step up from the PlayStation 1 to the Xbox. It was like a huge change. So I mean, I gotta give Xbox some love because it deserves it. It's a great console, but I'm biased and nostalgia for my Sega Genesis that I played for numerous years. I don't know how many times I left that game on Sonic 2 trying to get the goddamn Chaos Emeralds, and then when I finally did, I never turned it off because I didn't want to lose them. So Sega Genesis all the way for me.
Can I really
All
quick
right,
before you go, Wolf? I put this into our chat, but
okay.
there's a game called Gladius, and I love that game. I played that game when I was recovering from ankle surgery years and years and years ago. Yes, I've had the ankle surgery multiple times. But it's on point. I think you all should switch to Xbox because every time you do an attack, your character does, its actions and shows you the attack actions, and it gets tiresome because it's the same thing over and over and over again. and the button to cancel this is B. And my buddies and I, when playing this game, we would, get tired of watching this, and we would look at each other as somebody was not paying attention, and we'd look at each other and go, fucking B.
Yeah. And if I may, I want to make a quick thing here. I just kind of put this in chat, but I would have loved to have kicked the Sega Genesis out first round for no other reason than Chard's reaction. I think would have been priceless. But then he pulls out the console from his childhood, and I gotta say, even though I know it's not going to win, part of me kind of wants it to win just so Chard can hoist up his childhood. Oh my god! So now we have 2. Wow.
Dude, I showed it when I mentioned it.
Yeah, that's how he
Yeah, but I mean-
presented it.
Yeah.
I got another
Those
one
are-
back here if you want to see it.
You had 2 as a kid?
But this is no, I only had the one.
No.
It had a volume control,
I came upon
guys.
the
you
other
can
one from a
plug
friend.
in.
Okay,
can
one
plug
thing I
in
know about Chard though is he never
headphones.
used the volume control.
Yes.
You know how I know
and
that?
This thing is
You
crusty
want me
as
to
fuck.
give you my
This thing
chart? Okay, here we go. I'm kidding. I'm not gonna do that shit.
It had a
Yes,
volume control out. How cool is that?
I was
mean, that's a
actually
kind of a
going
neat
to mention
feature.
that.
Yeah,
I was
for-
going to
for-
go with
for
the
back in
Genesis,
day.
and this was one of the points, was it has your own personal headphone jack so that you don't have to bother you can play quietly, and instead of, having to hear your game and annoy your family. Like Sega thought of that, right?
Yeah.
And they gave you a little volume
'Cause we were
slider
edgy.
on the console to be able to handle that.
All it
Like,
did was
Z-
take away the
Sega was like-
context.
And then they came out with the Model 2 and they took that away.
Actually, the Model 2's audio
it's
overall was
stupid.
not as good as the first one. I remember hearing the difference, and it was
Yeah, like I think
noticeable.
it only went out in mono.
I don't know if it's that. Just the
So it
sound chip was
was-
different.
So I
and
can
it
hear
does
myself
sound
yelling in the other ear.
Yeah. So like but the Genesis one was really something special. They made the attachments for it. Sega CD, right?
The
Cool
32X.
Sega
yeah.
CD
32X,
expanded your library.
100%.
We don't talk about 32X, but Sega
I'm
CD.
just saying it's
Yes.
there and it exists.
Good
Yeah, I go
round.
Genesis.
Good round.
All right.
All right. Okay.
That was Genesis.
Sorry, Sinistar.
Yes, it is Genesis. 4 for Genesis, 1 for Xbox.
Yeah, now-
Sorry, Citizen.
Yeah. Sorry.
Up
Instead
next,
of arguing,
Me.
I'm just sympathetic. I'm just sorry.
round
Sure.
2.
Hmm.
We have more Microsoft with the Xbox 360,
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
and we've got Sega Dreamcast.
Oh, okay.
God, 2 good brackets back
This is
to
a hard one.
Bizak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we gonna go in the same order? Do we want to go same order, or do we want to?
Does anybody
that?
feel particularly passionate to go first?
I'll go first if I may.
go
Probably for
for
the
it.
opposite reason though than what you said is because I'm kind of dispassionate on this one, which I think makes me qualified. I think I have equal experience with both. While I would not claim to be an expert on either, I can say I've had experience on both. My first exposure to the Dreamcast, probably like many, was GameStops and various gaming stores in the mall that would have their little things up in the months leading up to the release of the Sega Dreamcast. I remember, was it Virtua Fighter that came out on that shit? That was so dope, and that's what they had on the thing. And I don't think I've ever been so hyped for a console release as I was for that. If it wasn't Virtua Fighter, I see you making some faces. Wolf, it could
I
have
don't
been
know if it was
Tactics.
Dreamcast or Saturn that had Virtua Fighter on it. I
No.
can't remember.
What I said is
Saturn had
definitely
no. Let me clear something up. Saturn had
Yeah.
Virtua Fighter 1 and 2. I loved those games.
Same.
Virtua Fighter 3 was on the Dreamcast. I've never been so disappointed in a purchase as Virtua Fighter 3.
Okay, but before you say that, because I really don't have any experience, like I have no idea what to expect about Virtua Fighter. This is the coolest looking, cleanest looking shit I've seen in a while. And I think up to that point, the
it was
newest console
gorgeous.
I had, the newest console I had up until that generation was the Super Nintendo, which I'm sure we'll talk about at length later. So no, I was super hyped for that, and I will always remember that. And then I remember, trying to think of the order, knowing about the release date and then completely forgetting about that console until PlayStation 2, whatever it was that was next. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's
Yes,
like when
it
you
was
see
next.
a movie trailer. Whenever you see a movie trailer, you're like, oh, I got to see that. and then the next thing you see is like, oh, it's coming next month to like Netflix. You're like, I didn't even know they put it in theaters yet. So that was kind of my experience with the Dreamcast. But there's some cool shit they accomplished with it. It is the one console I don't own that I think that, next time I buy a console, I'm going to make sure it's a Dreamcast. Switching over to Microsoft 360 or Xbox 360, sorry.
Microsoft work.
Right. What the hell's wrong with me? I talk like
Still work.
I'm a dad, but I talk like I'm at least 20 years older than I am.
Make sure you
Remember,
watch
every
this on
console-
that, the YouTubes.
Just
Yeah.
remember,
Yeah,
every
this round is
console.
Dreamcast versus Office 365.
Yeah. Well, and just remember, if you're your parents, every
Jeez.
console is Nintendo. Every
Yeah.
console
Right.
is Nintendo.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm a big
the
fan of
Nintendo,
Windows 95.
the Nintendo,
Yeah,
Microsoft.
I knew a lot of people whose parents were so
365.
happy to get them a Nintendo PlayStation.
But no, okay, so I think video game is Japanese for Nintendo. Anyway, I think the Xbox 360 improved upon the original Xbox in all the ways that were important. I know when we did our rankings and discussions of controllers, that kind of got heated for the 360, but I think that the 360 kind of renovated what the Xbox was supposed to renovate and or innovate. And I think in these two, I'm going to go with the 360. A year ago, I don't know that I would have said that, but here we are. You all have made me grow as an individual and as a human being. And yeah, so my vote is for the 360 on this one. Thank you.
Can I go next?
All right,
Oh boy.
go for it.
Okay. Let me tell you a story.
Oh fuck.
So I bought a Dreamcast.
Mm-hmm.
I still have this Dreamcast. I bought the Dreamcasts when they discounted the Dreamcast. What was it? When they were burning them out. They were $50 or $99
They
or
were
It
whatever.
was the Atari model.
were
Yes,
Uh-huh.
the
It was
Atari.
50.
I bought a
So
couple.
I bought a Dreamcast
With real wood paneling.
and I was exceedingly pleased with that purchase. The Dreamcast was fantastic. You want to know what's funny is my favorite game on the Dreamcast is a pool game. There's a billiards game on the Dreamcast that the controls
I thought
are
you meant, like,
great.
swimming.
No, like billiards. And one we're gonna get to also extensibility. You didn't have to hack this thing. You could burn CDs to play. You didn't have to put a chip 1 in this thing. I remember grabbing Doom for the Dreamcast and burning it to disk and just playing it. But then let me tell you a story. So this is kind of the heyday of the early when the internet had graduated from being a dial-up service to being a DSL service or a cable modem service or whatever. And they sold a
I love this
hardware.
story.
Yeah, they sold a Ethernet port adapter that replaced the modem on the Dreamcast. So I went searching for this thing. And of course, the Dreamcast has been discontinued now for however long. And I find one on eBay and I purchase this and it arrives. And it is there. I don't remember the exact model numbers, but it was like MP401 and MP402 or something. And I had the Japanese one that worked with literally one program, which was the Japanese browser. And I was so upset at this thing. I spent hours trying to make this thing work. I was so upset at this thing. It's winter, it's snowy. I opened up the back door of my house and I wing this modem that I spent probably $100 on. I wing it into the yard, just straight out into the yard and forget about it. Well, summer comes around and I'm mowing the
No,
lawn.
Yeah.
And I'm mowing the lawn. And all of a sudden I hear and I look at this thing that comes flying out of the lawnmower and it's this damn Ethernet adapter. And other than like the metal housing that had been mangled by the lawnmower, it survived. I could have plugged this thing in. So that long story gets to the point that I was so upset at this, I actually put my Dreamcast away. When this adapter had made me so mad, I put it away. What are you gonna say?
I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Did you know before or after this that you could burn discs and boot your own software in it without having to
I
purchase
knew
it?
about burning before this. But the reason
Did
why is because
you try looking for the proper browser to just burn and use
we
with
did.
it?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We also grabbed all of the supported software for the Ethernet that you play online. None of it worked. None of it worked. It wouldn't recognize the device in the machine. So
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will
anyway,
say
yeah,
their modem system was wonky because
yeah,
the even the North American broadband adapter only worked with one version of web browser
yeah,
2.0, I think.
right,
And so and they don't clarify which version of you have on the disk or in
right,
the little sleeve insert or anything.
right.
It's just like this is web browser 2.0. And if you don't have
Mhm.
the one that comes with the broadband adapter, you're kind of SOL.
Yep,
And that
yep,
really sucks that they didn't do a better job of conveying that information.
yep. Now, to get to the Xbox 360, I absolutely love the 360. We still have a 360. We have the 360 with the HD DVD because when Blu-ray won, we bought that adapter for cheap, and then we bought all of the fire sale HD DVDs for like $2, $3, whatever.
I
So we
forgot about
still
that.
have that. But the problem is I don't have my original Xbox, and you know why? Because of the fucking red ring of death.
Mm.
Yep.
And I did the whole thing where I even like reseated the heat sink. I opened this thing up, everything it ran for another month and then it red ringed permanently. So as mad as I was about the Dreamcast and that broadband adapter, the device never actually failed me. Dreamcast wins.
Hmm.
Even
Yeah,
after
that
the
red
lawnmower.
ring
Yeah.
that red ring was not good. I think my brother had a 360 red ring on him. So we ended up having to send it into Microsoft because it was within the year. And then about a year after that, it red ringed again. So he had to buy the updated Xbox because he had the original 360
Yeah.
model.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then he eventually got the slim.
We bought
Or
the
I might have
Slim.
bought him the slim because I was sad that he had to keep doing this and it wasn't working out for him.
We
So
we
like when
bought
I bought
the
myself a slim, I was like, kid, I'm getting you a slim.
we bought the Slim after our the one that I repaired red ring the second time. And then this is the other thing that pissed me off is the hard drive was not interchangeable and I had actual like saves and everything on the hard drive. And so
Mm.
luckily I had a friend that had the fucking transfer cable. But if you didn't have that transfer cable, it was 25 or 30 bucks to buy the stupid transfer cable so you could get your fucking saves off of that system.
Yeah, before the red
Man,
ring of
maybe I chose
death,
the wrong
there was
side
really
here.
no idea of consoles
No.
breaking, right? Consoles used to be like this thing you could drop it
Yeah.
on your sibling or bash their head in and it would still work afterwards.
Dude,
But
the
the
Nintendo would
Xbox
still work
360,
even if you hit it with a fucking bus. Like
yeah.
Hey,
you could still get
that
split.
My
Ethernet
Nintendo still works. I know this is on a bit of a tangent. My original NES that I got when I was 6 years old, 34 years old now, still works. I've
Yeah.
never had to replace a single part on it.
Yeah. Same.
I've even spilled Kool-Aid on that poor bastard.
the
Nice.
the fucking Ethernet adapter that went through my lawnmower would have still worked had I not just picked it up and thrown it in the trash like it was.
Jeez, God, maybe I need to switch sides here. I don't want to, and I'm not going to, but I am thinking about it. Those are good
Stand your
points. and
ground. Stand your
Yeah.
ground. I'll go next because
They'll
I'm
never
gonna
respect
defend.
me if I don't.
Yeah, well, I'm going to defend the 360. So it's story time for me. I'll tell my story about 360. For a long time, I had dreamt of getting a new console. I think I was still running on. I had the PlayStation 2. Yeah, we were still running on the PlayStation 2, and I was looking at like the graphics and all the fucking games coming out. And I specifically remember standing in Target, and a gentleman came up to me as I was doing the fucking "how much is that doggy in the window" look with the 360 sitting there in the window, and I was like touching the glass, you know. And the guy goes, "Thinking about getting one?" Like, yeah, one of these days I'll end up getting one. He goes, "There's only one reason to have this." And I went, "Okay, hit me." Actually, he said there's two reasons to have it. My bad. And Sinistar, this might trigger you because we were just talking about this the other day. He said Mass Effect and Lost Odyssey. That's it. That's the only reason to have it. And I was like, yeah. He's like, yes. Okay. So a couple years go by. I get a fat tax return with my ex. She's standing in line at GameStop and she goes, "I'm picking this up. What games do you want?" And I went, "Fucking stay where you are." And I drove to the mall and she's standing there with an Xbox in her hands. And I'm just fucking, yeah.
I like to think she's
Like,
holding it up high like this.
I spent my entire like 1,000+ fucking tax check
Wow.
on Xbox games and a 360. I spent the entire
Jeez.
thing. You want to talk about immature money financial decisions? That day was probably the biggest one that I ever did. And I bought Mass Effect and I bought Lost Odyssey. Yes, go ahead.
So I want to point out something. So speaking of, that immature, like we had bought our house a couple of years before we got our 360, and I'm agreeing with you here. It's Black Friday, whatever year that we bought our house. We're refining, we're taking a home equity loan. We throw a TV in that fucking 360 on our home equity loan.
Perfect. The immature adult thing to do. What you should do with your refi. So I was super excited about owning this thing, and I went home and I like plugged it in and played it. And I think I played that. I got the red ring years later, and I think I wrapped it in a towel and I let it heat up so that the sinks could like reheat or whatever, reseat.
Yep,
And
I
it
tried
worked.
that
It fixed
first. I tried that
fixed
first.
Mine got
worked?
fixed by that. I
Wow.
never had an issue with that after I played that. And I remember
Wild.
there was a time after
Wow.
my first my relationship did not work out and I was staying with the folks to kind of get back on my feet. I was playing it on their big fucking screen TV and I went, "You know what? I haven't touched Mass Effect in a while." And I put that fucking thing in and I stayed up for hours playing Mass Effect 1. Then I went out about Mass Effect 2 because it was so good. And I just kept playing that game. And he was right. The only reason I have an Xbox is to play fucking Mass Effect. 360
Yeah,
was
don't talk Lost Odyssey.
I couldn't get past the opening was really long. And I don't think I ever made it past the opening of the game. It looked beautiful, played fun, but it was just too long of an opening. Anywho, I never had a Dreamcast. I never made it to that form of the Sega time frame. I know we discussed a lot of the cool stuff that the Dreamcast came with. The controller had some really wonky shit to it, but some had some great ideas that they just didn't implement correctly that we talked about. And my basic idea of knowledge about the Dreamcast is our discussion on the controller, which I thought was cool. It had some really cool aspects to it. I thought it was neat. But I live and died by that 360 for years before I went and I upgraded to the one and then I forgot like when you upgrade consoles, the graphics get better. And I went, "Holy shit, this is way better than I remember it being." So I mean, I played Burnout. I play Burnout Paradise. I played
Oh, so good.
God, years of time spent playing on that 360, and I still have my original somewhere in this house stored away. I love it. I'm going 360 because I have more connection with the 360 than I did with the Dreamcast. Not that I'm saying that the Dreamcast was bad in any respect. I lived and breathed that 360 literally for years until something new came out. And it felt like that 360 was the PlayStation 2. Like it stayed around forever. It was there
hugely
for
long
years.
generation.
And it might have been like
started-
2-3 years or whatever, like in reality, but it felt like
No.
10 years of
the
360.
PS2 and the 360 really kind of started the era of like console generation longevity. It really did.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
So
to put it in
I
Well, the
perspective-
live and die
PS2 and the
breathe it.
Xbox were kind of competitive,
guess
and then
that's
it was
true. I guess
PS3 and
that's true. Yeah.
360.
Yeah,
Like-
360
but
the PS3 was supposed to combat the 360, but I always felt like the 2 had it was still 360 versus the 2. For I don't know for why, maybe it's because
Right.
it was the second iteration of the Xbox or whatever. So
Yeah,
my
I don't
pick
know, 'cause
is
that's
the Outlook 64.
Nice.
Like to give you an idea of the range of that generation, you had Oblivion on the Xbox 360 in 2006 or 7.
Yep.
Skyrim
Yep.
came out in 2011 on the
Yep.
Xbox 360. Like that system
Yep.
And I played the
was
hell out of Skyrim.
you had that for a long ass time. Wolf, you want to go or you want me to go?
Well, and really,
Yeah, I'll go.
Sorry, real quick. I to give you the longevity of that era, I have most of those games now on my PC through Steam. Like that like has continued through, right? Like I can still go play BioShock. I played BioShock on my 360. I can go play BioShock on my PC today. Anyway, sorry, Wolf, go ahead.
Okay, I want to start this by saying I was kind of over consoles except for the Wii at the point that the 360 was out. I never got a PS3 until I found it for $9 at the Goodwill a couple years ago.
Nice.
I had no interest. I was like, it's $700 at launch. Fuck that.
You're right.
People were paying $2-3 grand on eBay to get theirs from other people. Wasn't doing it. So
That sounds
I was
familiar.
just not interested in the PS3. I was like, no, my PS2 is still good. I got PC games now. Like that's about when my PC gaming would start to happen. And I had a Wii. So I was like, all right, I'm covered, right?
Yeah, that's a good lineup.
And then I was messing around one day on my brother's 360. Just Cause 2 had just come out and they dropped the demo. And I was like, all right, I'm going to check this out. This seems kind of cool. So I'm playing Just Cause 2 in my brother's room for like 50 minutes to an hour, right? And it just lets you play and play. Like there's no time limit on that demo until you just complete the mission it has. You can screw around. Or maybe it was like an hour time limit. I don't remember. It was a lot. And I played that demo probably 5-6 times. And then finally I was like, I'm going to go get a 360. And to the 360's credit, I do want to say the controller was a vast improvement over the original Xbox. While the red ring sucked, the redesign of the Xbox 360 has some serious longevity. And I do want to correct myself. I was wrong. My brother's red ring didn't ever come back. He's got that same Xbox. So he got it fixed the one time and it was good. He just had to send it into Microsoft to get it fixed. And I do think one of the big reasons we have indie games on home consoles now is because of the Xbox 360. I don't know if you guys remember, but the Xbox Live Arcade games and Xbox Live Indie games, like they had those two different designations for games. And the indie games were literally indie. And then the arcade games were the ones that were just small by major studios. And usually those were small development companies with major studio publishing, you know? So the Xbox 360 did great things for the gaming industry, I think. However, the Dreamcast, I like to think of the Dreamcast as the first iteration of the Xbox. Because whatever, like everything the Dreamcast did, the original Xbox just reiterated in a stronger fashion. And then the 360 again, right? The Dreamcast is Xbox's daddy, period. And then you had wonderful games like Phantasy Star Online, Jet Set Radio. Maybe you know it as Jet Grind Radio. I mostly played it before it was released in the US. And then when it was released in the US, I bought it, but I was sad they changed the name. Apparently it was legal things. They had Crazy Taxi. Resident Evil Code Veronica, for whatever reason, has never been ported to anything else except for
It's
I think it
good.
might have been on PS2 as well.
Yeah.
But that's the hidden Resident Evil game that nobody gets to play anymore, really, unless you have a Dreamcast, right? Like that's it. And Dreamcast was great. It had online gaming. It had the VMUs that you could take to the arcade and play your files on arcade games of the same game. You could play little games on the go to like build your
It's insane.
characters in like
Yeah.
Skies of Arcadia or Evolution RPGs, right? So Dreamcast did a ton of stuff. Really, the only detriment for the Dreamcast in my eyes was the controller design.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
So I got to go Dreamcast on this one.
You don't like the cable going into your groin?
No.
No.
Of the long list of things I'm okay with going into my groin, the controller cable, no, not so much.
No,
Okay.
I have to ask something real quick because I think I remember this. I'm sorry, Jack. I'll let you go. Just real quick. I want to ask. Didn't Dreamcast have its own? Was it Saturn or was it Dreamcast that kind of allowed early emulation? I want to think that I
It was
remembered my buddy
Dreamcast.
playing the
Dreamcast
NES Contra on one of those systems off of a burned
probably,
disc.
yeah, probably using Nestor DC.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
I mean, I know I'm still sticking with my 360 vote, but that's kind of cool too.
Yeah.
And I mean, come on, it's thinking.
All right. This is tough for me because I own both those consoles and I like them quite a bit. The Dreamcast, when I picked it up, I mean, I think I said before in a past episode, I actually brought that thing home and plugged it in thinking I could get internet out of the damn thing. But no, you actually need internet to your house or apartment before you can use it. But anyway, I love that. I love the Dreamcast.
It doesn't come with internet in the
Yeah.
box.
It doesn't. Well, I didn't know. I didn't have internet at home. So
That'd be
I thought,
great
I
if it
buy the
did,
Dreamcast
though, right?
and I have internet. Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
change
didn't
my
have these
vote.
things.
It got
It's
me
like
internet.
IT crowd. What's this? It's the internet. The whole internet is in there.
Yeah, I didn't know. I'm putting the browser disk in. It didn't work. Anyway, the Dreamcast did two things really great for me. One, it was the first console for me that said, I don't need to go to the arcade. The arcade can come into my house, right? I don't have to go to the arcade
Yeah.
unless I really want to. And in some
Yes.
cases, in the case of Soul Calibur, the Dreamcast version of that game is better than the arcade. But we're talking like all the 2D fighters. The Dreamcast is the last hurrah of 2D fighters, as far as I'm concerned, right? Like it had Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which is so freaking amazing for a game. I love the hell out of that game. King of the Fighters, I've never been into recently, but I played the crap out of it on the Dreamcast. Fighting games on the Dreamcast
Evolution,
were
Dream
so
Match
good.
99.
Yeah, fantastic.
Quick
It
aside,
got Garou, Mark of the Wolves, which I don't
Which
think
is-
got any other
Darkstalkers on there
platform
too.
releases.
Didn't they play Darkstalkers on there too?
I don't know, but
Darkstalkers was Saturn.
with Saturn, yeah.
Saturn, okay.
But Mark of the Wolves is one of the
Genesis.
the best games from that platform, and nobody ever plays that game. Although it's getting a sequel, I heard that was rumored. But anyway,
Nice.
Forgive me if I'm
aside-
asking this stupid question because I know we're going long here, but wasn't Soul Calibur? Was there a Soul Calibur version for Dreamcast?
Yeah, and it was better than the
Yes.
arcade
Yeah,
version.
which
yeah,
cover
it
was
was
that? Forgive me.
That was the original,
I think,
wasn't it?
Original.
Out of
Yeah,
the
it was
arcade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
And-
it was Soul Calibur. It was the sequel to Soul Edge / Soul Blade. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the
and
first Soul Calibur.
Yes.
Because that's what
This
they've all
comes into
been
my-
called since.
This comes into my quick aside. When are we going to get more Soul Calibur? Come on.
A couple years ago, it came out a
Didn't we
couple years
just get
ago.
6 like 3 years ago?
Yeah, it didn't do. It didn't do as
years
well.
ago.
When are we going to get more good Soul Calibur? How about that?
Oh,
That's
okay,
coming. All right, so I love the Dreamcast. It also had great RPGs. You mentioned Skies of Arcadia. That's an underrated RPG, and I heard they possibly might be getting a remaster. Definitely worth playing. Grandia
It's
2,
so
also
good.
fantastic.
It got
Um,
ported to the GameCube, but the GameCube was missing the VMU aspects, which was a bummer.
Right. Yeah. So Dreamcast, fantastic. And the only negative thing I have with the Dreamcast, besides, not having internet in the damn box, was when I bought it with a couple games. I think it was Shenmue and Sonic Adventure. And Sonic Adventure at the time, there was an issue with some of the games. The first run of those discs didn't work, and mine was one of those. I had to return it, and I got upset with that. So when I returned it, I went over to this
Weird.
place called Pacific Mall near where I grew up, and it was like a Chinese culture mall. But we used to all go there because of, you could buy samurai sword or various weapons you probably should not buy, but you could buy them. But you could also get a lot of pirated discs, DVDs, and Dreamcast games. So I returned Sonic Adventure, and I came out with a stack of like 12 burned discs. I was a very happy teenager. I love my Dreamcast, even though it was mostly for piracy. But anyway, I love the system. The Xbox 360, we said how long that generation is. Like, that was at a time when my PC was not that great, and I really couldn't play many of the modern games. And I used to, like I said, I played Morrowind on PC. I loved it. And I really wanted to play Oblivion, but I couldn't run it on PC. So I played it on my Xbox 360. And then later on, I also played Skyrim. But Mass Effect, Chart said Mass Effect. Mass Effect 1 and 2 are some of my favorite games. Like, I used to love the hell out of BioWare. Mass Effect was so fantastic on the Xbox 360. Like, even the point when they released it on the PC, and I played on the PC, it didn't have controller support on PC unless you modded it, like you use a hack. So, and it felt wrong to play Mass Effect without mouse and keyboard. It's so good on a controller. There's so many great games on the Xbox 360. What is it, Wolf?
I want to say something about Mass Effect. That game did not factor in the idea that a lot of people still didn't have HD TVs.
Yep.
The text size?
I tried playing it on a standard definition television, and I could not play it because I couldn't read anything.
No, that's fair. It's definitely a fair thing.
Looked
You,
like
you
Twisted Metal.
just you
Yeah.
just needed to pay off your TV and your Xbox 360 over 30 years
Did you
because
get a
you
home?
got
Yeah.
a home equity
You
line
get a
of
home loan
credit.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
the way
just
to do
needed
it.
to pay it off over 30 years.
Yeah. That's how
That's
I
crazy.
like to do it too.
All right, so I'm going to wrap up real quick. The thing, Wolf, you touched on as well for the 360 is absolutely did that do that? That was the first birth of indie games, as far as I'm concerned, in the video game industry, and it was all because of Xbox Live, like Super Meat Boy, Explosion Man, like
Braid?
Ray, yeah, Braid was amazing like that. Like, I mean, what's his name? Jonathan Blow. We would not even know of him at all if it weren't for the Xbox 360's Xbox Live Arcade or whatever it was. There's a port of Street Fighter 2 that was for redrawn graphics that was only available digitally. Like the idea of buying games digitally on Xbox 360 is what really sold me on that system. I didn't buy as many games as I thought I did, but I bought the crap out of the digital releases on that system because they're so cheap. Like they would cost like nothing. It was like $5-10 for fantastic games like Puzzle Quest. My wife loves
Yeah,
Puzzle
their
Quest.
sales
and so
were
do
really
I.
good.
Yeah, and Puzzle Quest is fantastic. And when they did a recent release on the Switch, and I had nostalgia for a Nintendo 360 game, and it was Puzzle Quest. My wife and I played the hell of it. It's the digital store on that is what really sold me the idea of digital games and indie games in general. And like I said, at the time I didn't have a good PC. I did all my gaming on the Xbox 360, and I love that system. I like the Dreamcast as an arcade at home thing. It's almost like the successor to the Neo Geo in a way because it's such a great arcade console. But there's just a lack of games. And when I compare it to the 360's legacy of what it did for indie games and all that stuff, it's so good. So my vote's the Xbox 360. Red Ring or not, the Xbox 360, I think, was the biggest impact on the industry. And it lasted so long. That generation was like 10 years. It was long. It was good.
It did seem to last a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sadly,
Red!
Chard is muted. And Chard, we can't hear you, buddy.
You're muted. No.
Yeah, we don't hear
Nothing.
you.
Okay. Chart is saying
Yeah,
move
sadly, Xbox 360 goes on. It beats the
No!
Dreamcast. I completely disagree with this, but
Me too.
Dreamcast shouldn't have been out there.
Rigged.
on. Dreamcast is fun though.
But you like the original Xbox. How can you flip on the 360? I don't know, man.
Because the
I voted
original
Genesis.
Xbox didn't. The original
No,
Xbox
Sinistar.
didn't red ring on me. The
Oh,
original
okay,
Xbox
fine.
didn't
Yeah,
red ring
the original
on me.
Xbox
Yeah,
didn't
I
red
know.
ring. That was a big
And I
problem.
didn't have to buy it twice.
That, and the hard drives gave out in that first round of Xboxes
Really?
as well.
Oh,
Of 360s, yeah.
okay. Oh, fair enough. We hear you,
All
Charlie.
right. So
2-part.
next up,
Our third bracket.
All right.
yeah,
There we are.
Third
No, there it
bracket.
is.
Mic issues
There it is.
tonight,
No,
guys,
we,
I'm
we hear
sorry.
you now. Please be
No,
aware.
yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
People
We
can
hear you,
hear
Chard.
you.
You're
Yep.
good.
I don't know what's going on. I apologize.
I say some nasty,
fine.
nasty shit when I think nobody
All
can hear
right.
me.
So next up is the Atari 2600.
Yes.
I don't have one, so I can't show it.
Sure, Sinistar
Versus
has one, yeah.
the N64.
Oh,
Ooh.
I am so sorry to you Atari fans.
Ooh.
Do you like your
I will go ahead and
fog?
start off again if you don't mind. Let me tell you a quick story. It's a very short story about how the Nintendo 64 wins in this one, I think. So, Nintendo 64, thank you.
Oh, is that it? Was that the story?
Is that it?
Okay.
That's all.
What?
Of it.
Okay.
What console brought gaming to the home?
The
I mean,
Nintendo 64.
I want a counterpoint. What
Wait.
console brought gaming to its knees?
We don't talk about that,
Yeah.
Wolf. We don't talk
I
about
want
I
a counterpoint.
agree.
Yeah,
I
which
agree.
console is more fun to play? Nintendo 64 is my vote. Go ahead and move
I
on.
don't know.
I don't know, man.
I'm going to
Yard's
make this round
Revenge.
short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As cool
then-
as some of the games I've played on the Atari 2600 are, I got to go with the N64 on this one.
Atari
Yeah.
is great, but I mean, it's the 64.
It's a 64. It
No.
brought
But
3D.
what at
as
all on the
janky as
Atari-
it brought fucking 3D Zelda to everybody.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Ocarina
Let's
of
take
Time,
Ocarina.
Perfect Dark,
Let's
Mario
take-
64,
yes.
GoldenEye
GoldenEye.
007.
I wanna
Banjo-Kazooie,
point out-
GoldenEye, man.
I want to
Yeah.
point
Conker's
out that
Bad Fur Day.
I want
Yeah.
to point out that the paper I just wadded up and threw behind me, I didn't mean to, but it hit the N64. It
You
hit
deserved
it.
it.
Fate
Look.
wants this. I'm just saying, take the best game on the 2600 and compare it to a mediocre game on the 64, and the 64 is still going to win.
See, here's the thing with the
I think Jeff
N64.
would be mad if I don't mention Star Fox 64.
Yeah.
Star
And then
Fox
you got
was good.
Mario
Yeah.
Kart 64. There were a lot of great
Yes.
games on the 64.
Was there
Yeah.
though? Because I feel growing up,
Yes.
every kid had the same like 5 to
Super
7
Ninja.
N64 games. Dude, everybody had Mario 64. Everybody had fucking GoldenEye. Everybody had Mario Kart. It was the same games. The Atari 26 library was huge. And you know why? The library was so good and so vast. When Atari released another console, the 5200, that fucking failed, and then they released the 7800. You know what they did with the 7800? They released backwards compatibility built in to take advantage of the 2600 library because it was that fucking beloved
Oh
of a
my
library.
goodness.
That library is
all right.
amazing.
Hold on.
I love the Atari
I
library.
would like
It's
to-
my favorite thumb drive that I have. Okay, I give that to you.
The N64 library was 3 times the size of the Atari 2600 library.
Okay,
I
but-
would like to.
And
Yeah,
make that
but
clear.
how many of those
All
games on the
you
N64
do-
were
PP,
shit?
Your argument is shit because you can get terabyte-sized thumb drives and have the entire N64 library on it. So fuck that argument.
But I don't.
It
And
does
all I
have
said was
Pong,
that the Atari
guys.
one is my favorite of my thumb drives. So it stands.
Let me see here. Beetle
64,
Adventure
baby.
Racing. Oh yeah, sure. Castlevania. Right. Okay. Sure. Glover.
Okay,
so
Castlevania
many
64
classics.
was weird. It's not the worst game I've ever played. It was okay.
It was pretty bad.
What's
I'll
another
take
one?
Keystone Keepers over that
Four-player
any day.
compatibility.
Cruisin'
Yes,
USA.
for the
All
win.
right.
Cruisin'
San Francisco
USA.
Rush, Rush
Cruisin' USA,
2064, Cruisin'
Rush
World.
2064.
There were so many
Guys,
good games on the N64.
You're listing all these games,
And
but I
it
can't
was
see that far
cartridge.
away. It's too foggy. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. I don't know. My vote's for Atari
Shush, Mr.
2600.
Turok.
Okay, Turok's okay.
2600.
That's the atmosphere.
26.
You know what has a lot of atmosphere though?
Jacob
Oink.
Turok.
Have you played Oink on the Atari
Jacob
2600? Oink is a fantastic fucking game. Three Little Pigs theme,
Is it?
action packed, stressful, good sound effects.
How many fucking games on my shirt are on the Atari 2600?
Oh, I didn't consider Sinistar's shirt for the argument.
Pitfall.
Can I
Fucking
change my
Jesus.
argument?
That's a strong argument.
No entiendo.
Do not
I love
enter.
that shirt, by the way.
All right.
Nintendo.
Atari 2600 for me. That's my vote. Fucking
Yeah,
guys.
I'm with you. But we're just idiots.
But the
apparently. It's
N64
fine.
wins this round.
It's
Huzzah.
fine. We're idiots.
We're
No,
Get for picking
No,
the 360,
Atari
Jake.
2600 is beloved and has its place in history. Absolutely. 64 still wins. Sorry.
All right. Next up,
Wow.
next bracket. That was a quick bracket.
Well, you
Yes.
needed one.
Now, I don't have the full
Hey.
size one out because it's, stashed away, and this one's easier to deal with. So we got the NES
The mini.
versus
Hold on. Where's mine?
the PlayStation 1.
Oh.
Oh,
This is a hard one because
No,
the
it's
library
not.
sizes.
No,
the
it's
library
not.
size on the PS versus the NES,
No,
those,
it's
those are
not.
huge libraries.
Are we
Really? You don't
really?
think
Are
so?
we really
This
bitching
is-
about library size?
Hey, I think
Jesus
that's a
Christ.
fair category.
That is a fair
Again, not to
category.
just go first all the time. And this is a struggle.
But you're gonna.
It is, but I think, and nobody's going to be shocked here when I say the Nintendo wins. For me, I love the PlayStation 1. There's so many great things that happened. That was revolutionary. Whatever, blowjobs all around. But the NES for me. Thank you. It defined
Blowjobs
my
all around.
childhood.
I didn't know
The
that we
Nintendo.
That's
came-
so
I didn't know that we
GP.
came here for blowjobs all around. But
No. I'm just saying, like, I have so many good things to say about all these consoles.
You
But
didn't-
in a
you
heads-up
didn't come here for
conversation-
that? I'll
no.
be disappointed if that doesn't happen.
It's happening, fellas.
go-
Anyways, I gotta give it to the NES.
That's why we need a
You guys hear
Patreon.
all the stories that I jokingly say about my dad and my childhood and all that stuff, but the NES was always there for me. PlayStation was great because of 2 games, Final Fantasy VII and a little hidden gem called Final Fantasy Tactics. And there were other great things. The PlayStation, I could do an
Silent
entire
Hill.
episode by myself talking about how much I love the
Silent
PlayStation.
Hill,
But I
Resident
love-
Resident Evil.
I love
Resident
the
Evil.
NES,
Yeah,
and
Silent
that
Hill.
will always be my
Resident Evil.
go-to console.
Final
So
Fantasy.
that's my
Brings up
vote.
Gran-
NES. Please go ahead.
Jeff brings up Gran Turismo, fucking amazing game.
And the best Final
So many great
Fantasy
games.
in the
Final Fantasy
PlayStation at PSX,
Okay.
Final Fantasy 9,
It's great.
easily
Good-
on there.
there's
Symphony
some
of the
really good
Night,
sports games.
Tony Hawk,
Extreme Sports,
Tony
Tony
Hawk.
Hawk, Pro Skater.
Metal Gear.
There's a lot of great stuff. Okay, but NES. Thank
Okay,
you, bye.
Metal Gear Solid did Metal Gear better than Metal Gear Snake's Revenge. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
by far. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
By far, without question.
Soul
And,
Reaver, whatever it is. I mean,
Soul Reaver's good. Kane's
Yeah.
Revenge or whatever.
Kane's
That's a
Revenge,
good one too.
Yeah, Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen was also good. Tomba,
I gotta say-
Klonoa,
Parappa the Rapper.
Parappa.
The Power
Yeah.
Rapper, the Rapper, yeah. Oh, no
Kick
shit.
punch, it's all in the mind.
You
Come
guys
on,
don't have to
GP.
agree. I'm just saying.
I'm
No,
really shocked
like
that
it.
we're
This is a
that we're
tough.
having
This is a
this
tough
argument.
one. I have so much love and dedication and nostalgia for the NES, and we talk about what brought games into the home. Okay, you could say that about the Atari, and we went through all that with the console war, not the console wars, but they almost bankrupted video games. And there's a whole very cool bit of history regarding all of the consoles before the NES. But NES hit the reset button, which is a good segue, and that brought us into, I don't say modern, obviously that's not the right thing, but NES for me. You guys know this. I can't not
But the
say
NES
NES.
wouldn't have had a reset button to hit if it hadn't been for the predecessors.
Okay, I have some very, very sarcastic things that are probably a little too dark and distasteful for the channel. I will Marco Polo you later, my friend. I love you. That's all I want to say. And yes, thank you. Bye.
I'm
All right,
going PS1.
I want to go. I want to go
I'm
next.
going PS1. I'm just
Okay.
voting PS1.
Okay, I want to go next. PlayStation had a library of over 4,000 games.
Wow. That
NES
sounds like
had over
hyperbole, but
800.
it's not.
It's like
Right.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, so it varies, but based on the source, like some sources go as low as 3,200, which is still a fucking shitload.
It's crazy.
Okay. But yeah, you had stuff like, I would like to mention that Europe didn't get Final Fantasy until PlayStation.
Oh, really?
There
None
were
of the Super
no
Nintendo
Final
ones?
Fantasies. There were no Final Fantasy PAL versions on the SNES or the NES. They didn't get Final Fantasy 1, 2, 4, or 6 until PlayStation.
Yeah, right. Because then they ported all those over for Chronicles.
Yep.
And
Yep.
And
yeah, for the package
and
shit.
if you remember how, like, I'm sure not a lot of you bought your own NES games, but I don't know if you guys remember the price of NES games at the store. They were usually $60, sometimes $70 at
Some
the
of the Sega
time.
games
That's
were that
not
pricey, too.
adjusted for inflation, right?
Phantasy Star 4 was like $90.
Oh, huge. But that's carts, right?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I think I saw that one for like $80 at Suncoast most of the time. That's why I
Yeah.
never bought it.
I got in trouble and had
But,
to return it. I'm not even
you
kidding.
stole it. You
Yeah.
didn't say you got in trouble for
No,
stealing
I
it and had to
bought
return
it and I got guilted
Conditions of
into
your
sending
parole.
it back. Speaking of financial decisions that were against my will, please
And
continue.
and let's look at the PlayStation. A lot of games would release at a $40 price point.
Yeah. Discs
And
were
then,
then-
cheaper.
they'd have the classic release for like 20.
Yeah, 20 to 30. And then toward the end of its lifespan, there were $10 games coming out. Right? And you think, okay, $10 game for
games?
PlayStation, it's probably a piece of shit. And for $10, they were actually pretty good. They weren't really just, what do you call it? Trashware. I can't remember the word.
Shovelware.
Shovelware. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
the Wii. The Wii had a lot of shovelware.
Oh, huge.
The
yeah.
PlayStation, a lot of those low price point games were still really good, right? Like they weren't terrible. Like I have one that's like a combination of Pokemon and Final Fantasy Tactics that I'm sure none of you have ever heard of. It's pretty cool.
That's a hidden gem. That's a hidden gem. right
It's
there.
called Eternal Eyes. I swear to God, I swear none of you have probably ever heard of that.
No,
No,
never
you're
heard
right.
And
But I
it's
have heard of
pretty
the other
neat.
two
I
games.
dug on it. So
One a little lesser known than the other.
PlayStation. Also,
Pokemans.
how many PlayStation games have you ever swapped out to try and hear other games' soundtracks or just put in your own music? Because that was a thing too. What was it?
Oh yeah, the disc
X
player,
Games.
yeah.
You'd put in your own music while you're playing a stage. Bam, you're good to go. You got your own song. Tomb Raider came out on PlayStation. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta go PlayStation on this one.
Wow.
It introduced the whole memory card system.
That's not a
No, I
benefit,
can't.
though.
Oh, that's another episode. I am pissed off still about that.
It is because then you can take the memory card to your friend's house. It's little. If your friend has the game, is this little thing instead of a whole cartridge.
Yeah, but PlayStation era, I had no friends in the PS era. I'd rather save my games on the cart.
I got my PlayStation along with Final Fantasy VII. Sorry, real quick, on Christmas Day, 1997 or 1998, whenever it was that both those things were out and we could afford it. And I didn't know that I had to have a memory card, so I had to wait until like the stores opened the day after the day I got it.
That's
so I
always
couldn't
the
play Final
best.
Fantasy VII without turning it off. Anyway,
Wolf, remember, they don't have friends in Canada.
Yeah, we're so far
have
apart in
friends
the
in Canada?
tundra. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you guys have friends in Canada?
You guys have
The
friends up in
tundra.
Canada?
Once the ice block moves, we'll reconvene with society. Like the wall up the north. Gee, all right, Crow.
All right, let me go.
There's no
PlayStation,
trick-or-treating up there.
Final Fantasy VII, fucking fantastic. And I know I rag on it now, but I actually liked Final Fantasy VIII when I first played it. I have my issues with it, but Final Fantasy, Resident Evil 3 is amazing. Metal Gear Solid is one of my favorite games. There's so much great stuff. Tekken 3 is still I think holds up when you play it today.
Contra, Super C. Next argument, Your Honor. Thank you.
Hold on. But there's like such a great number of games in the PlayStation.
Mario
That's
2.
it. Am I going to vote for PlayStation? No. Of course I'm going to vote for the fucking Nintendo. Nintendo's the system I grew up with. It was my second console, Atari 2600, and then I got Nintendo. Like, I think it was Christmas or it was my birthday, I think it was my birthday when I got the Nintendo, and it was just fantastic. Mario Brothers 1. I know you guys can't stand it and you voted against me on it, but the original Mario Brothers is a fantastic game.
I love that game.
Mario Brothers 3. I'm going to take you back in time, asshole, because you guys voted against Mario Brothers 1, but that's another episode. I'll link
What
it
was
in
it
the
up
description.
against? I don't
It
even
was
remember
another
that.
episode, actually. It was a couple episodes ago.
Mario Brothers 3. Fred Savage, the Wizard, advertising the shit out of that game. Fucking, it's amazing. Rad Racer, like Punch
That's
Out.
not good. That's
The
not a
lead
selling
singer
point for
from
the
Lilo
NES.
Kylie.
Wizard was a great movie. I don't know what's wrong with you guys.
Mega
anyway.
Man, Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3,
Maybe
The
4.
Wizard was
Mega Man
just
4.
Pinball Wizard with Super Mario 3.
Well, okay. We have to have an episode about the Wizard because I love that
Dr.
movie.
Mario.
But anyway, Nintendo library. I didn't realize the PS had 3,000
Puzzle
plus
fighting.
games. That is insane to me.
Jeez.
I didn't realize it was
I'm
that
with you.
big. But I look at games like Fifth Element, so I'm like, I don't know. No, the original
Oh,
Nintendo.
come on. Oh, come on. You can't judge a console by one game.
Okay, fine.
Yes, I
know.
can. Don't worry, he hasn't
Okay,
gotten to me
yes,
yet.
we PK. Yeah, okay, but you wanted us
Buy
to
you
vote
Bi-
Xbox
buy-
based on basically one game. Come on,
Buy you Billy. Fuck off.
Okay,
one game,
So-
multiple peripherals. Case closed. Thank you for making our point.
Bayou Billy, shitty. Machine City, Mad City, which is the Japanese version. Amazing. It's basically when they brought it over to the US, they fucking tinkered with it and they shouldn't have. Mad City on the Japanese version, it's in English. Play that. It's actually a great game. I actually like Bayou Billy, the Japanese version. The original Nintendo wins. Like fucking even Kirby. That Kirby was a meme for me for a year on this podcast. I love
Yeah.
Kirby. But just Mario Bros. 3
Sorry, he
alone.
Was?
Yeah, because Kirby's so hard, right? Are you being sarcastic?
No, I'm
He's
saying
full
it
of 'em.
was. I
No,
feel like
I
it
was
still is.
proud of you.
Oh, well, okay. It's still a
It
tough
doesn't matter
game.
if I can beat the game in 20 minutes. If you've been going at it for 14 years and you do it, I'm proud of you because you're my boy.
Yeah. But anyway, original Nintendo, hands down.
Yes.
How could we have
we're
this
2
tournament
versus 2.
episode and not have the
on,
NES in the
Chard.
top fucking 3? If we didn't have Nintendo in the top 3, we would be canceled by everybody. Like the NES is got to win this matchup. But
Nah. Come on, Chard. What's your vote?
Mm. There's a lot of good arguments here. A lot of good arguments. The Nintendo
already-
is in my
thank you.
childhood, right?
Oh shit! He's
Hold
gone.
on. I wanna do a psychological experiment real quick since I hold the keys to the kingdom.
uh-oh.
Well, he's got the power.
He's going to fuck us, GP. You
No
talk.
power. He's got
You
the
did the
power.
impression of
Now you're
Chard and you
playing with
screwed
power.
it.
Guys, how much do you love me individually?
10 out of
I'm
10.
not saying.
Jake,
I'm
I
not
fucking
saying
hate
until.
you dick.
I'm not
I'm not
saying
gonna
until
drag
you
this out.
vote.
Listen,
I'm not saying until you vote how much I love you.
Have my babies. Let me have your babies.
I don't want your babies. You have babies. So the Nintendo, listen, the Nintendo and I go way back, right? I got it Christmas morning, 1987. My sisters and I both got it. We were super excited. We were the kids that were like, you know, the freaking out kid from the memes. He got his Xbox or whatever. I love it. I grew up playing my first game I ever beat was Chippendales Rescue Rangers. As a kid, I was kind of 8 years old or whatever. I have so
thought you
many
were going into
long-lasting
Chippendales.
memories. Huh?
I thought you were headed toward a different Chippendales. I was like, okay,
Hey,
cool.
you know, you're treading on thin ice, man. My vote is my meter is swaying. So just watch out. If you want yours to progress, we're gonna have to work on this here. Darkwing
Wow.
Duck.
Wow.
Great game.
One of my favorite Capcom games growing up. All the Mega Man, pretty much through there, except for 5, I think can go to hell. Final Fantasy fucking 1. Janky as fuck, but I have long-lasting memories of playing that game and doing my thing. But guys, the PlayStation had such iconic games that were played on it. So many fucking games that I played them when they came out with the PlayStation 2 because I didn't have a PSX. So Nintendo wins and moves on. Let's go on to the next one.
Thank
Oh,
you.
okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were
Yeah,
going to
you
hurt
see
my
that?
feelings.
Look
there.
at
Here's
Final
my
Fantasy
psychological
1
experiment.
is
I
on the
retract all of my Bs.
PlayStation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
but
is,
the loading
it
times
was better on
alone.
the first one because it was broken as fuck. Here's my psychological experiment. Everybody that's gonna pick their pick always says it last. They always go, well, you know, this game or this system I really liked, but and then they talk about the next one and go. So I went with the one I was gonna pick first. Then I said,
Counterpoint.
but, and
Counterpoint.
then I went back and pressed that.
I talked Dreamcast, then 360, and then
Did
picked the
you?
Dreamcast.
Yeah, and I'm
Yes.
pretty sure I opened with
Okay,
blowjobs.
that's why it
so, yeah.
lost. Anyways, moving on.
Blowjobs wins.
NES. How could it
Ooh.
not?
Yeah,
How could it
I
not?
Ooh.
If it weren't for the PlayStation 2, I wouldn't have
Ooh.
touched a PSX game. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have touched one.
That was close.
And if it weren't for
Close.
PC, I wouldn't have played Final Fantasy 7 because I played it on PC.
I'm
right, so-
disappointed, guys.
That's
I'm
okay.
disappointed. I'm
too.
sorry if
It's
the
the
worst case
NES
scenario
moves
is
on.
the Nintendo is still in the game.
We're gonna bleed into 2 hours in this episode. I don't
The
understand how
NES,
the Nintendo
like, even
could
the
even not be a
PlayStation
pick.
even introduced analog controls to the
Yeah, for
modern
like
console
what,
era.
one
Like,
game?
that's
Ape Escape? You're gonna base this matchup on Ape Escape? I like Ape Escape, but really?
and Tomba
Okay.
2.
I'm just
They
curious.
said I do have an outpatient surgery in 45 minutes. So.
We gotta
All
wrap
right.
it up, B.
Says
right.
the guy
Next
that
up-
based his hate for PS1 on one game. Nice.
Hey, also, yeah, the other reason I didn't pick PSX is because someone let Final Fantasy VIII be played on it, and that's an automatic strike. So you're out. Sorry. Someone got caught stealing third, and they were thrown out. It's baseball season. I got to get a sports reference in there somewhere.
All right, what's next?
No fouls
All right.
detected.
Next up, we've got the Wii versus the PS2.
Oh,
This
that's
is
an
a good
easy
bracket.
one. That's an easy
So
one.
many good brackets. Well, hold on. Well, probably, yeah.
That's an easy one.
I'm going to go first. I'll just make it quick. I think the innovation of the Wii is fantastic. I was really impressed. I bought Twilight Princess before I even had the console. That's how excited I was. I loved playing it with the Wii nunchucks. I still love to fucking bowl on that bitch. But if it weren't for the PS2, I wouldn't have played any of the PS1 games. And I wouldn't have such wonderful memories of playing Silent Hill 2, which is my favorite Silent Hill in the series, or Silent Hill 3, or any of those horror survival games that came out. Final Fantasy X, one of my top 3 Final Fantasies. I specifically got the PlayStation 2 so I could play Final Fantasy X. Everything else after that, 11's all right. 12's all right, but everything else can go fucking die in a fire. The PlayStation 2 had such an expansion. It was because of the ability to go back and play older stuff. I could play Metal Gear Solid. I can play all the older stuff from original and together. Tony Hawk Underground. I lived in that game for years.
As long as you had the original fat PS2, they took out backward compatibility in the Slim.
That's true. I had the original and then they took that away with
Yeah.
the Slims, but we'll talk the fat PS2 because that's the one that I appreciate the most. PS2 got me through my years in Germany when I was fucking by myself, like trying to figure out what the hell was going on around me. So I PS2. I love the Wii. I think it's a great concept. That surgery game that came with it is also cool as hell. The nunchucks and all that crap. But if we're going to talk about library and how much fun, like the PlayStation 2 was my 360 for fucking years because I had so much I can go back and play. all the original Final Fantasies, Chrono Trigger, even though it was an absolute dumpster fire on the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1 version, it was still available. These things were all accessible for me. PlayStation 2 all the way.
All right, can I go next?
Yep.
Okay.
Go
So
for it.
I'm also going to vote PS2. And the reason why is I loved my Wii. I absolutely adored my Wii. It was innovative. The nunchucks, the the Wiimote that could aim at the screen, etc. But here's the thing. When I think about going back and playing games, I don't think about my Wii. That's anyway. And
Call that
n-
Tetris around these parts.
right, and
Yeah.
90%,
Oh, he's talking about a penis.
yeah, 90% of the innovations didn't carry on.
Interesting take.
Okay,
I can go real quick.
I'm gonna go now.
Okay, go ahead.
You can go after me. I gotta go the Wii on this one. The PS2 was the era that Sony got really uptight about what was allowed to be released on their console. And so a lot of games got visually downgraded because they were 2D graphics. And Sony was like, no, no, no. Or at least Sony of America was like, no, 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 you can't release that here. It's got to look 3D to get released here. That's why East 5 Arc of Nepishtim looks like shit in the US and on the PS2. Whereas
God.
on other platforms outside of the country and more recent releases on PC, it looks really good because they had to do the stupid pre-rendered sprite nonsense that looked terrible. There were a lot of games that got that issue. Sony is kind of single-handedly responsible for the downfall of working designs for that very issue. And while I don't necessarily agree with the guy who ran working designs, they had a lot of good people at that team other than him, and they were all really good at what they did and really passionate. Um, the
Can I point
Wii
out can I point out
actually
your
has a
can I point out your argument about control? Who controls more than Nintendo does?
this was Sony's really bad era, their first really bad era. Let's say that
By then,
because they've
yeah,
had
But
by then
Nintendo has
Nintendo had been
controlled
controlling for a while.
Nintendo has controlled from day one and has never let
Consistently.
up and has never let up.
Consistently. Thank you for making his point, Sinistar.
and then
Anyway,
you say that like to say that the innovations of the Wii don't stick around. What are you talking about? It's still around with the Switch. Nintendo Switch Sports is an evolution of Wii Sports Resort, which was an evolution of Wii Sports. Like
yeah,
they're still using the Joy Cons like the Wii remotes.
Mhm.
on my
Thank you. I'm glad you
TV,
covered
just-
that.
on my TV, I take my little IR adapter and attach it to my TV on my Switch. Oh wait, no, I don't.
Because they've gotten past that. They've evolved the technology from there. But that's where it started.
I have a cable and two controllers that I can like flail about with. Oh no, I don't.
Have you seen the PS2 controller and how trash that thing is? Have you seen that D-pad? I mean, the Wii controller is
No,
not that
I'm
good
saying
either,
the
but at least it still has a
nunchuck
proper D-pad.
I'm saying the nunchuck
Not a-
attachment gone. Like that didn't carry on.
You're gonna argue the PlayStation 2 controller versus the nunchuck? Are you fucking high right now?
Both are trash
how am I
controllers.
Okay, so
here?
look.
Hold on.
Okay, look. There was the Wii Classic controller, which let you play with a traditional controller if you wanted.
Yes.
The Wii remote was actually pretty damn functional, where some games just used it like an NES controller. Like they actually simplified games so much that it brought in the whole family, right? They had the tilt controls. We still have that. They had the waggle controls. We still have that. Even
What if you don't like
Xbox
your
360 and PlayStation and Xbox tried to mimic this technology with the PlayStation Move. It's still incorporated with PSVR, right? You got and that's basically where the technology has gone. Is now it's VR kind of controls. The Wii is where that began. You got the Kinect was what Microsoft tried to do, which was not a whole lot of games made use of it. The Wii actually did make good use of the control scheme most of the time. Unfortunately, there were some games that shoehorned it in that it didn't need to be in, and it would have been nice to have the option to not require it in some games. But the Wii did a lot of great stuff. And yeah, the Wii Fit, like Sinstress mentions the Wii Fit, that was also great. There was a lot of good stuff with the Wii. It got people off the couch, which was exciting at the time because people just thought of gaming as being a couch potato. And it's not, and the Wii is what made it not so much, right?
Mhm.
I gotta
All right,
go Wii on this one.
let me go because I don't want to be. I can't
Okay.
break this argument.
I get to decide this one. Okay.
Yeah, you can decide this one, GP. So here's the thing with the Wii. I have a love-hate relationship with that console. I have a wonky knee to this day, and it was because I got drunk and played Wii Sports. I remember it because I was playing the fucking soccer game. I was wasted, and I was bebopping and bouncing around, and I fucking fell the wrong way, and I blew my knee out. Like, it's only now, like, decades later, where it's actually okay again. But I really messed my knee up with the Wii.
Tore my ACL playing Wii.
Dude, it got you physical. Like Wii Fit. I like Wii Fit. My wife loves Wii Fit. And it's one of the reasons why I bought Ring Fit for the Switch, is because I had great memories of Wii Fit. It's fun. Nintendo was always trying innovative new things. Did everything work? No, for sure. No. But like the balance board with Punch Out, with the nunchuck and the thing, Punch Out's amazing with the balance board. It's really fun to play that way. It's hard as fuck, but it's fun. But Mario Galaxy, like the Mario games in general are on that system. Like the problem with the Wii, the only real problem with that system was it was not popular enough with third-party publishers. And outside Nintendo, nobody was going to touch it. Yes, Nintendo in the past had control issues, but at the Wii, they really wanted other companies to make games for it. But the system was not as powerful as the other of the alternatives. But that's when Nintendo started saying, hey, we're different, right? We are not targeting maybe the hardcore gamers. We're just targeting gamers and their families. And they did that. They did that really well. Again, I don't like the controllers overall, but I hate the PS controller. I hate it. And when I look at the games, the only games I think I missed out on the PS2 because I didn't have one was Gran Turismo and Final Fantasy X, I guess. Like honestly, I have more fondness for Shadows of the Colossus. Yes, was great. But again,
God of War.
Okami.
Yeah.
Oh, I've
Okami
heard of those.
or
Okay.
Okami.
But
yeah.
I look at every game you just I can mention probably a dozen Wii games that are I think were great. So I think for me, it's the Wii. Just the Wii is just like it got the family involved, more physicality. Fucking Mario, come on! Mario Galaxy is one of the best Mario games out there. PS2, I don't know. Like I keep thinking of like the muddy graphics. How when it launched, it was super expensive and a shitty controller. That's all I think
Final
about the
Fantasy
PS2.
X introduced voice acting into a fucking RPG like the first time.
You're going to bring up Titus's laugh as the high point of the PS2?
Yes, because it's supposed to be an awkward moment, Jake. It's supposed to be like that.
The voice gets very high pitched.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's not awful voice acting. It's they're pretending to be okay with the world around them when they're clearly not.
Sucks.
That's what's happening.
What they're laughing about.
Maybe it's something lost in translation.
See, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm trying. Okay, so let me.
I'm voting for the Wii.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Here's the thing, and don't look into which one I'm mentioning first because I'm not. I'm gonna just spitball this. Talk about backwards compatibility with PlayStation 2, like that being one of the reasons it was so great. You had that with the Wii. You could play the Dolphin games or the GameCube. Yes, thank you. So it had that. I think the nunchuck was a wonderful, not gimmicky controller. There were a ton of gimmicks that they had peripheral wise all through the history of Nintendo. I felt like the Wii was their way of saying, I know we kind of fucked it up when we had all those NES peripherals, like the Power Glove was not great, but look, we mastered it. And here's how cool it could have been. To that point, Metroid Prime trilogy for the Wii, one of my favorite, not just Wii games, but one of my favorite games of all time for being a compilation game. Even just Metroid Prime alone for the Wii with the nunchucks, super awesome, great controls, all of that. They introduced the Wii Store where you could go, you could download, old retro games and shit like that. And I love the Wii. I certainly do. The PlayStation 2, I remember coming out my senior year of high school, and all I'd done for like a couple of holidays in a row was just, I hated being the guy who's like, give me cash or give me gift cards. But I had my eyes, my heart fixated on this PlayStation 2. And, Metal Gear Solid 2, I was such a fan of Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation 1 that when 2 came out, I was like, look how much better this looks. I didn't know about writing, by the way, and the format of that game at that point. But anyway, I'm going to vote for the PlayStation 2. I love the Wii. I hate that it's leaving this early. If I had to go, plug in right now my PlayStation 2 or my Wii, the Wii's going to do it, but for reasons we're not going to get into here. I think because of the sheer number of franchises that were introduced or improved the PlayStation 2, that alone gets it. Mario Galaxy is great, and there's a couple of great things, but PlayStation 2 for the win for me.
Once again,
Auto had a resurgence.
Is overrated
because of the PlayStation 2. Fuck you, it is not. That game is
also,
a fucking riot. I'm playing
it was my
Red Dead
first
Redemption
DVD
to
player
this day because of Grand Theft Auto 3.
It was my first DVD player, and I always have to have love for it for that.
It also had the mod chip community. I have a modded PS2, just the same as the Xbox.
But again, I agree with the points or the counterpoints that were made in favor of the Wii, regarding where's the technology going and all of that. Again, this is a close one. For me, this has been the closest bracket so far, in my opinion. But yeah, PlayStation 2 for the win. Let's move on.
GP, you're a monster. I hate you right now, just so you know. I'm sitting
I
here
hate
listening.
me too. I hate me too. Okay?
Okay, Daddy. Okay, Daddy.
You know
I'm
who plays
disappointed in you
Wii?
all.
Daddies play Wii.
Except Jake.
Daddies do play Wii.
Wii Shop Wednesday.
Daddy
Am I
can.
the one who has nostalgia for Wii Shop Wednesday, where the new shit came out?
I was offended. I was
Yes.
offended when they when the Wii Shop released Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. I was so hyped. That was the very first time I'd ever gotten something off of layaway as a kid, right? So when they released it, and they're like, "Yeah, $10. Why not?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea how many lawns I had to mow? Fuck you!" Anyway, sorry. Let's move on. We're on a roll. Let's do
PlayStation 2
this.
moves on as it should.
We told everybody this may cancel Press B tonight. We're gonna find out.
Guys, these randomized brackets aren't going out like I thought they would.
All right.
This is why we need you to
Uh-huh.
go back
This
to
is all
planning.
disappointing. I should have shuffled these personally.
All right. What's next? We're at an hour and a half,
Okay.
and we've done like 4. I feel bad.
No, this is the sixth
knew this was
bracket.
gonna be a
So this is
joke.
the final of the first round. We've got the GameCube versus the Super Nintendo.
Oh,
Bring back the Wii. And I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. I know we are going long, but it's only March Radness so long as we contain it to March, because here in a couple hours it's going to be April. That was the only reason I was mentioning that.
I mean, fuck the GameCube. Super Nintendo wins this one. Like, come on. Like,
yeah, I can't even make an argument of why the GameCube. The GameCube was great. Honestly, it was great.
yeah.
But
Metroid Prime.
was it
That's an
the potentially the
Code
most
School Tour.
amazing console released ever?
Hogwarts
No.
Quidditch.
Yeah. Mario Golf.
Super Nintendo.
Game Boy
Monkey
Advance
Ball.
on the GameCube.
That
Online
awesome.
compatibility.
Yeah.
yeah.
Those are good points. But I got to go with Super Nintendo on this one. Also,
Super
I
Also-
won't belabor the point. Super Nintendo.
Have you guys?
Super Nintendo.
Okay, I want to. I know basically the Super Nintendo has already won, but I want to make a point here.
Hey, I haven't gone yet.
There
Yeah,
are
Melee.
stories.
Don't take the shirt.
I see.
There are stories about the Super Nintendo being very sturdy piece of hardware, right? Like I've read a story about a guy whose SNES at one point had a TV dropped on it, like a 50-pound CRT TV, put a hole right through it. SNES still worked.
Mm.
It got
Just
that
tasting.
same SNES got dropped out, got thrown out of a second-story window. Still worked. So the
Yeah, but my
SNES is a sturdy piece
GameCube-
of hardware.
My GameCube has never yellowed on me, though. You know what I mean?
Have
Nobody
you?
nobody in my
Give it
house
time.
knows that I got a
Give it-
yellow
no,
screen.
no,
time.
Right.
No.
Give it time.
I want to. There's a video on the internet. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. There's a video where a GameCube is literally lit on fire, beaten with a sledgehammer, and dragged around at like 40, 50 miles per hour, tied to a rope to a back of a truck for about 2 or 3 miles.
Science.
Takes it home,
Gotta love it.
plug it in, turn it on, and it still fucking worked.
And they probably played Harry Potter Quidditch because that's the best game.
They
on
played
the
Sonic Adventure
GameCube.
2, I think, but
Of course
I
still.
can't believe everything you see on the internet.
That's why they tried to burn it. They put that thing on.
Nobody understands this yet, but I'm actually AI. So like, don't invest too much into what you believe or what you see on the internet. Yeah, I don't know. Super Nintendo. I'm sorry, I already voted. Sorry.
I gotta go to the GameCube on this one.
Like you got Metroid Prime and Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. There's great, and I have huge fond memories of Mario Party
Super
with
Metroid.
friends. Yeah, but
Paper Metroid. Is that what
Link,
you meant?
Link to the Past. Link to the Past. I mean,
I thought you
if
said
want
Paper
to talk-
Metroid. I was like,
no,
that a
Super,
Final
Super
Fantasy VI,
the greatest
right?
Metroid game ever.
yeah,
Super
no,
Metroid.
easily the best Metroid game out there.
Yeah.
Super Metroid.
Yeah,
And like for
That
me,
is
Final Fantasy VI is
potentially
the best Final
art-
Fantasy game.
Arguably the best Zelda too. Link to the Past.
Yeah.
And 2 of the 3
But
best
Final
Final
Fantasy
Fantasy
VI
games.
They didn't even make it to Europe until later, not on the SNES. All
That's
right?
EU's
Yeah, get
loss.
fucked.
We had it. We enjoyed it. But like
That
controllers,
wasn't our
Get
fault.
fucked,
Yeah.
France.
Not-
We got it first.
not to rehash
Fuck
the
your
controller
French fries.
debate,
Freedom fries.
but the SNES controller is the perfect controller, and I'll take a SNES controller even today over whatever the hell GameCube was trying to do. So for me,
Yeah.
it's SNES.
That was
It has to
probably
be
one of the
SNES.
weaker aspects. And that, and I wasn't ready for a tiny disc. I still loved, cartridge, but that's my own
Yeah.
shit. So never mind.
All
Am I
right,
last?
So
Am I
that's
it?
You're
yeah,
wearing
but
the
I think
shirt.
that's
You know
already
how
3
you
votes
vote.
for
Sensor,
SNES.
you win, yeah? Sensor, did you go?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just said Super Nintendo. I went right after
Okay.
GP.
Yeah, I won't drag this out, Super Nintendo. I mean, there's...
yeah.
The shirt doesn't lie.
I mean,
I
I'm
can
not
understand
horrible.
voting
You're
Comes in-
right.
against
I
it.
love-
Listen, I will fuck you guys. I'm dragging it out. So the GameCube had some great
No
shit in it,
entiendo.
and it's another version of an unfair setting. It's just like the goddamn fucking Sega Saturn and the Sega Dreamcast. They didn't have a fair shake. You had fucking Metroid Prime on that bad boy, and I still stand by Quidditch being a fucking fun goddamn game on that thing. You
Nobody's
had some
fighting you
cool
on that.
games on the Cube, but it's a Super Nintendo,
Eternal
man.
Darkness. Eternal Darkness. One of my
Eternal
absolute
Darkness. I mean,
all-time favorite
there's
games
so
ever.
many. Wind Waker, just like you said. I know a lot of people didn't care for the cell shading, but I
Still
thought that
good.
game was spectacular. I
game. It's
played
an
that game
absolute
for
banger.
hours.
GameCube
So
was when
is that.
Nintendo kind of grew up. We got the Resident Evil games that like
Yeah,
Resident
you
Evil
got
Remake,
Zero. You had Resident
Zero.
Evil Zero that allowed interchangeable characters in the middle of the game. I thought that was a really cool puzzle trope.
Wait, you're
I
saying
hated tank
Mortal
controls, but it's
Kombat?
there.
You're saying Mortal Kombat on the SNES wasn't growing up?
No, because there's sweat. There's no
Fantastic.
blood in that game. They took the blood out.
Yeah.
The sweat out of people.
I was making the joke because I knew that they had like kiddied it down.
Anyways, it has my favorite games on there of all time: Super Metroid, Final Fantasy IV, and Final Fantasy VI.
Super
Chrono
Mario
Trigger. I mean, I
World,
can't.
Super Mario
There's
World.
too many fucking games on there that are too fucking good. ActRaiser. I mean, there's just
F-Zero.
too many.
It's no
Yeah,
Atari
Zero,
2600, but yeah.
It's no Atari 2600, but I might as well move on.
Few things
And
are.
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Yeah, I get the love for the GameCube. I've got it, but you can't really be too pissed off about the Super Nintendo advancing in this one, right? I mean, maybe
No.
you can.
No, no,
I'm
no.
just saying, like,
I think
GameCube is dope. I don't think anybody's
The
gonna hate
last
on
two
it.
brackets were really the heartbreak of this
Yeah.
episode for me.
I adore my GameCube.
I'm done. I'm
but
quitting.
I adore my GameCube, and if you want an argument for when I actually use my Wii that's sitting next to it, it's when I want to play my GameCube games. Really,
Exactly.
I love the GameCube. I thought it was a great system, and I was
Yeah.
really sad it didn't get
Yeah.
rolled up. Really, truly.
I love the game. Oh, Mario
I
I even
Party
like
on the
Nintendo moves
GameCube.
on.
I even
Yeah,
like
Mario
that
Party
it's
was
the
great.
fucking cube and it has
Yeah.
a handle in it. I
Mario
love
Party, yeah.
that. I think the design of the console is sick as hell. I love
The
that thing.
Samsung or whatever
Yeah.
chromed out version
Yeah.
with the lights and shit. That was so cool.
I
but-
thought it was neat.
But Super Nintendo. I mean,
Yeah.
Give me a gold plated one of those forever. I don't care.
yeah. Hell, give me a
And just
yellow
wait long
one of
enough,
those.
and your
give me
SNES
a-
will be gold
yeah.
colored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if you wait long enough, it'll gold plate itself.
I just
Yeah.
don't understand the oxidation rate of Super Nintendos. I swear to God, one day I just woke up and it was yellow.
You mean gold plated?
Only on the top. The bottom is
Yeah.
still that nice gray that it came in.
Exactly. The purple still pops too. Purple popping.
Yeah.
All right, all
Pop it.
right. Lightning round.
Yeah, we gotta do
Lightning
lightning
round,
round.
All right. So we are at Genesis versus Xbox 360.
Oh, God.
Oh, God damn it.
I'll go
So much
first.
for lightning, huh?
Genesis. I didn't think I'd vote on that twice, but here we are
I think
voting Genesis over the
is
360.
yeah, I've got to go Genesis too.
Xbox 360
tough.
because of the impact on indie games. Like I have to. Xbox
Yeah,
360.
I got to go
But what about the
360 for that
impact on
same
these
reason.
nuts?
Really? It's up to me? God damn it.
Yes, Chard, you're the bad guy right now.
Draw
Duh.
that line, Shard.
Genesis. I got to go Genesis. I have way too many good memories of the Genesis, and I loved it.
Wow.
It's
I loved
hard.
it growing up.
I hear you, but take your nostalgia out of it just real quick, just completely objectively or subjectively, whichever the one means no nostalgia. Which do you think is more important culturally? I still stay by the
Objectively.
Genesis on that, but I'm curious about Char because he has the nostalgia.
See, I could argue a little.
Ironic.
Yeah, I know.
Ironic.
Okay, I get it. Here's the thing.
But Wolf, by that
All the
logic,
best
the
Genesis
Atari
games are
shouldn't go.
on the 360.
The
Mass
Genesis made me a
Effect?
You can do the
gamer.
same
Like
thing
the
with
Genesis and the Nintendo
Atari
made
shit.
me
Forza?
a gamer. Like, I don't know.
Gears of War? Fucking come
Yeah,
on, man.
I gotta go Genesis. I'm sorry. I have to. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to pick 360, but my heart just won't let me
Yeah.
let go of the Genesis. I have to
No,
hold
that's
on.
fair.
I do like the
That's fair.
Genesis. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
All right.
That's a tough one. I
We're just
love
on
that.
a losing
Well,
streak
I'm going to buy
tonight.
you a cake, Wolf, because I feel bad what you're doing to you tonight. I want to send
Now
you
you know how it feels when the tide goes against you
Yeah,
as host.
yeah.
Every fucking
no, no.
bracket.
No, don't
I'm gonna go
don't
to
try to
Wolf's
guilt
house
me.
after
I've
we're
had
done
my
and
heart
give him a
broken
hug
several
and
times.
apologize.
I've had my heart.
Wait,
Oh, that's
hold-
right. The Wily
wait,
Wars is on the
wait.
Genesis. Can I change?
Wait, stop everything. Jeff just brought something to my attention that may swing my vote. Wily Wars is on the Genesis.
Oh,
and I
shit.
think it's a good
Fantastic game.
360's back in.
No.
Music. Have you heard the music in Wily Wars? It's fantastic.
I won't burn you that. This
And
is supposed to be like
360
like-
had Mega Man 9 and
Mhm.
10.
I love that 360, man. And Mass Effect's
Good.
on there.
Oblivion, Skyrim, Forza, Gears of War.
You know
Like,
what? Fuck it.
Lost-
360.
lost-
Go 360.
lost
Fuck it.
Oh!
I'm turning coat.
No.
Turning coat.
Can we get somebody to read back the minutes here? Are you serious? Charge, show me the 360 from your childhood that you grew up with. I'll wait.
It's somewhere on
That
my living room.
upset.
the Wily
All right,
Wars
so
turned the battle.
360's advancing. That's fine. I'll write a note to Flicky, my best friend.
I love the 360. Mass
nobody
Effect's on
understood
there,
me.
man.
Flicky
I don't
was there.
know. It's a big deal.
Nobody
Wow.
would go to prom with me. Flicky was there.
So is that your final answer, Chard?
Yeah.
Aw.
All
Wow.
right. 360
I
moves
can't
Okay.
pick,
on.
I'm
man.
gonna-
I can't pick
I'm gonna
that
have
one.
Chard
That's
send
a
you
hard one.
cake. It's collusion.
Fuck your cake.
Collusion.
The cake
Am
is
I
a
gonna
lie.
get an erotic cake from you?
The cake is a lie. The cake is a lie.
Cake's the last-
I do want to mention I'm a little bummed that was both like that was the final chance for Sega.
Yeah.
Sega's
Yeah,
out
killed it.
now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Jeff killed
Just
it.
like in real
I
life.
picked it. He said
Oh.
Wily Wars. It's his fault.
I got to
Yeah,
multiple
now-
Wily Wars
I would
to you
have
guys soon.
stuck to it.
We we move on to N64 versus NES.
Oh, NES.
N64.
NES.
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 Why you gotta be like that, Sinistar?
Gotta be difficult every time.
Because you guys,
No,
you
no
guys have
clean
shit
sweep
on me all
this,
night.
Joe.
You guys have shit on me all night.
You know what? To be fair, if PlayStation 1 had gone up against N64, I also would have picked PlayStation 1. So N64 just wasn't going to win that bracket.
By the way, I'm actually going NES.
Yeah.
Okay, clean sweep.
All right. Now it's PS2 versus SNES.
Oh come on! Oh come on!
Yeah, I gotta go PS2. I mean, sorry.
Okay,
Gotcha.
hold on.
I
You
gotta
all
go
want to say it
SNES.
at once?
Yeah. Gotcha.
SNES.
Gotcha, kid. No, I gotta go SNES.
Yes.
SNES is winner.
Yeah. PlayStation 2 was just a beefed up version of the SNES, in my opinion. Like the library is comparable, just fitting for the tech. So, but SNES did it first. So I got to go SNES on this one.
Okay, what's our order?
Wow. What a weird final three.
What do
We got NES, SNES, and Xbox 360.
Fuck.
How did the Xbox
been
360
the
make it this
Genesis.
far?
Could have been
It
the
couldn't even
Genesis.
get out of the controller phase. SNES first, NES second, 360 third.
Yeah. I
gotta go
agree.
SNES 360 NES.
No,
Yeah,
NES is first. No, come on, Mario Bros. 3.
Uh,
Come on, Link, Zelda.
such a good Mario Brothers game that they announced Super Mario World before it was out.
It's just like
I'm
that's just
sorry.
logistics.
Every game. Wait, hold
Alright.
on. No.
Black Box
Hold on.
series. Come
Have
on,
you
we
ever
did an
seen a
episode of
movie
this.
trailer? Yeah, Geely got a movie
We
trailer.
also did
That's
an
like
episode on
saying Geely was so
controllers.
good they announced it before the movie came out. That's just how games
Okay,
work. You
okay.
advertise it.
Hold on. Let's do this. All right, GP, give me your order.
I don't want to. I'm torn. I'm torn.
All right, Jake, give me your order.
All right.
As a whole, I like the NES more, but then I look at the Super Nintendo, and like Charge said, it's got my favorite games on there. So no, I got to go NES, Super NES 360. Final vote. Thanks.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm the same. NES, SNES, 360. NES has so many classics that I grew up
Wow.
with. The Black Box
Chard and
series.
I-
Yeah, like I love SNES is
Chard
great.
and I are-
Me and
but
Sinistar, you and I have the same three.
Yeah. SNES, NES, 360.
Okay. Wolf, you are the deciding factor between those two.
SNES, NES 360.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well, my order is SNES 360 NES.
So
Well, SNES
but
wins, so we might as
SNES
well go with
wins
the
number
Let's-
one.
SNES. Well, hold on. This comes out to a certain order. So SNES has the most votes for first at 3. NES and SNES are tied in the second, but that gives it to NES because 360 has 4 votes for third. So the top 3 consoles of all time, definitively, apparently,
By
are
science.
the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo, and then the Xbox 360.
My piece is made.
yeah, but the Atari 2600 is pretty
I
good.
bet
Guys.
1,000 tonight.
Can we go back a little bit and bring that
Well,
Atari
yeah,
2600
these
back?
are
It's all
all
right. I
hold
kind
on,
of want to
hold on.
bring back. I feel bad about the 360 pick, to be honest with you. I should have got Genesis. I feel bad
No,
about
I
that.
don't.
I don't
the
know. I
impact on the
tried to
indie
sway
game
me.
scene is pretty pronounced.
Yeah. Honestly, I
tried
think
to
I would
sway
be a
me.
little upset if the 3 top were that far retro. So it's good to have some,
Blaster.
not modern, but something at
I need
least
to
from the
mention
2000s.
something. Jeff tried to sway me on the NES with Blaster
I saw that.
Master,
I saw that.
which is one of
Which
my
is a
favorite
gut punch.
games,
Yeah.
but it's been done so much better with the Blaster Master Zero trilogy. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but you know what? That also makes me not feel so bad about the Genesis not making it because they did Blaster Master 2 dirty.
Well, Genesis didn't make
I
the
love
top
my
3.
Genesis.
Yeah, me
I
too.
do, but it came out with this horse shit, man. Fucking never forget this
Menacer.
attempt to make the fucking silent or the secret scope or whatever. This
Do you
fucking
put stuff
the
in that, or
Menacer.
does that go in things?
If you take the screen out, it
Oh,
goes. It almost fits.
It's
That's-
the fleshlight. It's the fleshlight version.
It's the,
of
it's the Genesis
the-
Master Fleshlight. I'm just
Master
saying, the Menacer was the answer to the fucking silent scope, and this thing is shit. It is absolute trash. This thing was horrible.
Now,
Okay. Are we all
I do
still
want to
friends?
clarify before anybody. Yeah, we're still friends. Before anybody listening
Were we
or
before?
watching gets upset that we didn't bring in the Steam Deck or the Switch or PS4 or whatever other console that you like that's newer.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of
cutoff.
games available on most of those newer platforms are available on the other newer platforms. So there's only a handful of exclusives. And honestly, there's only so many differences a different controller can make, especially when you can buy another controller or like
Yeah.
an adapter to play with your preferred controller on another platform. So the newer consoles were kind of out just because of that. Plus, Steam Deck would have
Yeah.
stolen everything, I think.
Yeah, truth. We also made a conscious decision to not select handheld
Yeah.
consoles.
Yeah.
because there's
I
too
think
many.
We'll
of them.
probably
Yeah.
we'll probably maybe
Four
next March
versions of Game
Radness.
Boys. There's There's
Yeah.
the Genesis. There's the Vita. There's another PlayStation Portable.
PSP
I mean,
was
there was
fantastic.
just way
Game
too
Gear.
many. We were going to
Game
get
Gear.
way in the weeds with that. Maybe we'll do a
Lynx.
Yeah.
bracket of best handheld games because
Yeah.
Wolf was right. This fucking thing would have won the whole goddamn show without question.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
we don't have to do
So-
that episode. You just, I mean,
So, number
I
one
did want to get that out
is-
there.
Number 1 is Steam Deck. Number 2 is SNES. Number 3 is NES. Number
I'm
honorable
not sold on
mention
Steam Deck, but
to
anyway.
double A batteries. That's what we need. We need to get a sponsorship. From
That's
like
just
Duracell
because
or
you don't
something.
own one yet, dude.
No,
If you bought one, you would be sold on the Steam
Those
Deck.
controls look terribly
Retroactively.
placed, honestly, and
They are
no,
not.
they actually
They're
not.
They look
right.
it. Do you like the
They-
Duke?
not really. No. So
they feel better. They
You've
feel
sworn
better
by
than-
the Duke before. What the hell?
no, I like the big controllers, but the button placement is all wrong. But anyway, that's a different
No, it's
episode.
Okay,
It's
Seinfeld.
not.
I'll
It
Hold
really
on.
isn't.
save it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
The first and final sentence from the TV show Seinfeld is exactly what you just said. The buttons are all wonky. Anyway, not important. I thought it was great. Yeah, guys, this is great. I don't know. I love March Radness because I enjoy the discussion, but I also, oddly enough, enjoy that I'm never happy at the end of these episodes. And I should be. But for whatever reason, I'm just not happy, guys. Can't
That's
do it.
very, very Jerry.
Yeah.
I'm going.
I want to
with
lead
Jerk
this
Story.
one
What
out.
is
I've
the
got a
deal
Seinfeld
with our
quote that
choices?
we can. No, I want to. When we're done with this, I want to lead this one out. I got a Seinfeld quote I want to go with.
All right. All right. Well, if you enjoyed the episode, and even if you didn't, please give us a follow. You might like
take
another
it.
one.
We have others. Only
Hit
about
that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube or wherever. Just follow us, listen to us. Spread the
going on?
love with your friends, please.
Absolutely.
We have
Nothing
This
Started
is
started
the
doing-
doing.
last
chat is
March
showing up.
Radness too.
We have started posting the YouTube videos on Spotify's podcast,
Yes.
where it has videos as well.
Yeah.
We're branching out. This is the first time we've ever done any kind of March Radness setup. So this bracket style, like back to back, I think it'd be nice to go back to April and be friends again, talk about things we agree about.
Yeah.
What
Like,
happens in March stays in March.
And that's the
I'll
real.
tell you what. You know how many MPs we get after each episode? Going, I'm sorry, man. I hope you're not too upset with our picks.
Well, and that's the real
No, I
April
love
Fool's
this.
joke, is that we're friends. That's the real April Fool's joke.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Even
love
though you're all
this.
wrong.
And if we revisit it again next year, I've got some ideas to improve it and make it a little more contentious at that. So,
Oh boy. Yeah. Let's add some salt to the
Right.
wound, please.
Yeah, make it even more
Yes.
contentious.
I brought the lemons.
This time next year, I will be on the precipice of turning 40 and salty as fuck about it. So yes, I am there already.
That's
gonna be
good
great.
because I'm eclipsing 40 as of this upcoming month. So let's fucking go.
You kids.
and and if you guys disagreed with our statements or agreed, come let us know on our Discord. You can find the link to it on our website, pressbtocancel.com. And yeah, reach out to us. Let us know what you agree with, what you disagree with, what you like. Give us pointers, whatever you think. Like, if you've got ideas we should do, let us know. We're
Yeah.
always interested. With that, that has been
buddy.
Press B to Cancel. The end of March Radness.
We
Don't
did
think
it.
I missed anything. So
We did
take
it.
us out.
These antidepressants aren't working.
All right. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.